everybody, and welcome to another episode of Open Mic Responder Roundtable. I am Mike McCabe, your host, and we are thrilled because we have a super special guest today. Today with us, the host of Live Rescue. We went right to the top. We had to hear from the man himself, and he was gracious enough to agree to come on. Matt Iseman's with us. There he is. What's up,
Chief?
Matt?
How you doing, buddy?
What's up, buddy? How you
I gotta
doing?
say, I'm jealous of your majestic view behind you. That
Isn't that nice?
skyline of, is it Bayonne? I've got my messy office behind me.
Do you know how much I pay for this lease? You'd never guess.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyway, pal, thank you for coming on with us. It's a true thrill. This
My
is
pleasure.
Great. It's really great to have you on because I know that a lot of people would like to know a lot about the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Iseman. And so we hope to get into a lot of different things today. But first and foremost, we want to touch upon what it's been like to be at the helm of Live Rescue. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Yourself, Dan, and Garen have an incredible thing going on in there. And we just want to find out what it's been like so far for you.
It's amazing. Not often do you get to join a show that is already a well-oiled machine. And the way it worked was obviously Live Rescue spun off from Live PD. So a lot of people there had been working on a similarly formatted show. They knew how to do the show forwards and backwards. And then I came in, I was the second host. Yep. So the show already had about 13 episodes, 18 episodes under its belt. So it was really amazing for me to walk in and say everybody else knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah. And for me, it was fun then to get to jump in on a ship that's mid-sail already and then just get to explore the subject material, which is life and death. I mean, it really was incredible to get to know the first responders and see how the nuts and bolts of the show work. But really, the thing that I love about it is just right away you get you're telling stories where the stakes couldn't be higher. And I love that. I'm all in, and I'm all in when we get to celebrate first responders, the people who run in where everybody else would run out. Every instinct is telling you, turn around, that's fire, that's insanely hot, or dealing with rare viruses. It's amazing that, people like you, Chief, people who choose to have a job where you put yourselves in harm's way to help those of us at our most needed time.
Yeah, I think that I think that your energy level shines through in this, and certainly you portray this in a way that brings excitement for people. And I think for us, it was just a case of always just trying to get that recognition and awareness to the people, to the general public, to show how it is we operate or what it is we do, because it's different throughout the country.
But that's what I think. One of the things that really fascinated me was, listen, I'm a doctor. I went to medical school, so I have some familiarity with healthcare and how it's administered. But so often now, particularly with the short attention span that we're all developing, when you see an amazing story, you'll see a clip on Facebook, 30 seconds, maybe 90 seconds, of first responder doing something heroic. And it gives you a sense of, wow, that was really impressive, but it doesn't give you a sense of the people involved. And that's what I love about Live Rescue is we're spending hours with these first responders, and then we're doing it for weeks. So some of the people have been on with us for months. And so you at home get to see they have lives. These people, they have personalities, and see how they handle these extraordinary situations, and to see them do it week after week. I think it really gives the people at home an appreciation for the challenges of being a first responder, and why, one of the things that I felt about medicine, it's a calling. People, it's this trust where people place their lives in your hands. And that's why I probably ended up in comedy and entertainment, because it's a real responsibility. And I didn't hear that calling. So I have such respect for those who do. And it's awesome for me to, first of all, be glad that people are still doing this job that is so necessary. They didn't all quit like me, but to get to tell their stories and to celebrate them and to show, I think it's reassuring for the viewers, because we can all picture being that person in an accident or trapped in a fire, and that you'd want these heroes, these people who are our neighbors, but are really the heroes among us, to kick down that door and save our lives.
Yeah, I think that you make some incredible points. And again, I think that no responder, myself included, ever looks at us as heroes, ourselves as heroes. Anybody will tell you that, right? But it certainly does take a certain mentality to want to do or see or be involved in the things that we're involved in in everyday life. But again, like you say, it's a calling, and everybody has their callings. You know what I mean? Everybody has the things that they're passionate about.
Well, and I think that's what shows through on this show. That's what shines through is when you see a first responder, and all of a sudden you realize this isn't medical care they're administering right now. This is human care. They're treating them like a person. They're just talking to them, about, hey, what's going on in your life? How, we're pulling you out of your car because you overdosed. And there are groceries in there. We're going to put those groceries back in the store. So you get to keep your groceries. These little simple things that you don't get to see in a short clip, where you see the humanity of these first responders, and that even in these difficult, challenging situations, they're thinking about that patient as a person. And that's what I think our show does better than any show that's really come before, is to show the interaction of the caregiver and the patient as people.
I think that, and I've said it on this podcast a million times. The thing that a patient remembers is the warmth of the interaction. You holding their hand, you telling them it's going to be okay, more so than they'll remember about starting an IV or giving a medication or anything else. It's actually just being there for them. And I think that the people that are in this industry are in it for a reason. It's not to start IVs. It's not to intubate people. It's not to put fires out. It's to help and genuinely care for people. And so it's nice. And I think that what you're saying, Matt, is important to us because it's actually getting out there now, right? Where we didn't have that platform, but now we do. And so I think that that's what's really cool about it. So with that, I'll ask you, Dr. Iseman, how that went, and because I'm going to tell you something, my friend. This was not some rinky-dink medical school you went to. This was the real deal, right? This was Columbia in New York City, so it's not like you can say you've never been to New York City before. You went through that. First of all, you were in my hood in New Jersey at Princeton, right? Graduated with honors there. Went to Columbia, got your MD. Went out to Colorado, did your fellow in internal medicine.
Was doing residency with my dad. My dad was a professor at the hospital.
Correct. He was a pulmonologist.
Dr. Iseman Sr.
He was a pulmonologist? Was he a pulmonologist?
He was a pulmonologist, yeah.
So there is quite the background in medicine in the Iseman house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of alluded to it where I think medicine was the perfect career for me on paper. Right. Where I love science. I love problem solving, and I love people. I was kind of a younger brother, so I was always wanted to be the center of attention, the one who's entertaining people, making them feel good.
Sure.
And so medicine I thought was going to be the perfect career, but you don't live your life on paper. And I got into it, and what should have been the perfect career just wasn't. Okay. It wasn't resonating in my core. And again, that's where there are a lot of things you can do as a job, right, where you don't have to have your heart in it. You just have to have the discipline. But I just felt with healthcare, it's a sacred trust when a person places their life in your hands. And it was something where I didn't always feel I was doing the best for the patient. I felt they were being cheated. And I didn't feel good about myself, feeling as though my heart's not in this and I'm pretending it's something. And that's why I didn't know I was going to leave medicine for comedy, but I thought I got to take a break and either grow up and embrace this or find something else. And I thought I was going to grow up. Turns out I didn't. And so I ended up in entertainment. And you know what? There's something to be said for that too, my friend, because growing up is overrated. But the fact is, how did your dad take to that when you said, Dad, I'm leaving the medical profession? That was the toughest part. I think the toughest part was I have such respect for my dad. Yeah. He's one of the strongest, smartest, wisest men, I've ever met. And I saw how much he appreciated medicine. That was probably no small part. He never forced me into it, but I think what an example he was as someone who loved his job, who got amazing satisfaction from it. And I thought, I want to be like Dad. And so I was worried. I thought when I told him, I didn't know if he felt I was rejecting him and how it would be handled. Yep. When I told him, though, I was leaving medicine for comedy, first words out of his mouth were, life is short, do what makes you happy. And it was, it floored me, but it's still the best advice I've gotten, where it is, man, thank God I didn't do something to try to please other people. Instead, I went for my dream, and I'm so happy. I love what I do. Yeah. I love my job. I love it, whether it's Ninja Warrior or Live Rescue or this podcast game show, stand-up comedy, any of it. I love getting to tell stories and be in front of people. So I feel so fortunate that I had the chance, that my parents supported me, and that it worked out. It's, I think I had a lot of lucky breaks along the way. So I feel grateful to be where I am.
Yeah, but it's a true story. I mean, following your passion is and actually standing up for what you believe. You're doing something you believe it's not right, but then going towards what you feel is right. Kudos to you for doing that. And like you said, you're doing a lot of different things, man. I was talking to you before we got on. Like, you're all over the place. So this is not just live rescue. This is American Ninja Warrior. This is where we started, right?
American Ninja Warrior. We're just about 15-year-old kids competing. So yesterday I was calling 15-year-olds, telling them, hey, it used to be 21, then it was 19. So these kids had no idea. We're calling them going, you're so good, because we have Ninja Junior. Okay. And these kids that compete on Ninja Junior, like, we think you were so good, we're going to let you try on the big show. So we're going to have some teenagers, 15-year-olds, out there competing, which is really exciting.
That's insane.
Ninja Junior is coming out in February, February 20th, the new season starting, and live rescue's rolling on. And then I got a podcast that's going to be coming out, a game show called Factorious, that will be up on wherever you get podcasts. But yeah, and I love working. I love being busy. I love surrounding myself. I'm really lucky to have shows that I like, shows that are fairly positive, that mostly are telling stories and kind of celebrating. I mean, Ninja Warrior is awesome, where we just get to tell some of the most inspiring stories, and it's kind of created a new sport for kids now, that we're seeing in a new way. For people who don't like the competitiveness of traditional sports. Ninja Warrior is really kind of this alternative that's grown up, where people are like this camaraderie, and it's amazing to watch it and to be a part of it, and get to see these athletes change their lives from competing on the show, and just kind of the discipline spreads over to other areas of their life. And it's amazing to see how this reality TV show has become so much more.
It's cool because, I met you one time in the city. We had done one thing together there, and before meeting you, I said, somebody said, oh, he's from American Ninja Warrior, and I said, my kids are doing that all over the couch. I mean, they're literally hopping over things and stuff like that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the host. And so that it has really basically transcended to these younger kids, where they're like setting up obstacle courses now and tearing my house up, trying to be American Ninja Warriors. So
it's amazing.
Oh, dude, I'm not joking. Like
and what's great is, like, my niece is 7 years old, and she's just a beast on the monkey bars and loves doing all those obstacles, and is kind of fearless.
Right.
And it's cool. Like, who knows what comes of it? But I always think, I played sports all growing up. I think some of the best life lessons come from sport, in terms of learning how to lose, learning how to have a coach, learning how to be criticized, learn how to pick up for your teammates and support each other. Yep. And I love that for people who might not play regular sports, Ninja is giving them those lessons too. And Ninja Junior, the kids version is amazing, because we're seeing these 9-year-old kids where they fall, and there are thousands of people watching them. They know they're being taped, and some of these kids cry, and you get it. But then all of a sudden, the other ninjas come up, the mentors come up, and they're like, hey, it's okay. It's okay to fall. We all fall. And you see these kids where this could be one of those moments where you learn that life lesson of, life doesn't end if you stumble.
That's right.
And you don't have to feel like that's a failure. You just keep going, because everyone's going to do it. And I think Ninja's really humbling in that everybody does fall. So it kind of loses that stigma of, it's okay to try. It's okay to stumble. Just keep going. You'll get better. And I think it's really been amazing to see kids grasping the lesson of Ninja Warrior, that I think is just an important life lesson.
It's so true. Matt, when does the new season of Warrior come on?
So Ninja Junior is the 20th. The new season of Ninja is probably going to be beginning of June.
Okay.
We start shooting it here in LA. Then we're going to be in DC and St. Louis. So Garen Mosby's going to take me out again for some other training.
Well, yeah, sure. That's what you call that. I will touch upon that. So when you went with the fire training with Garen, I thought that was great. I thought he really put you through the ringer and probably took a little easy on you. Now listen, I'm a medical guy, right? I'm a medic. So I don't do the fire stuff. The hot red stuff is for the fire guys. So I can't.
That's a wise move, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. So, but what I did see was with Keith Wade the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hysterical. First of all, Wade looked like he was the Blues Brothers, right? With his dark shades. He never leaves
Jake,
anywhere.
I'm Elwood.
Honestly, he never leaves anywhere without them.
For me, what I love is again, I have some understanding from having been a doctor, from going through the rotations, but I haven't been an EMS, I haven't been a firefighter. And for me, it's really helpful to understand what these people we follow are going through in a much smaller level, obviously. Sure. But to put on turnout gear, 75 pounds of gear, and haul my ass up 3 flights of stairs and be completely winded and then have to go into fire and feel a heat that I never imagined I would be that close to and have to stay there voluntarily was humbling. And then to be in an ambulance and try to start an IV when, we were going about 10 miles an hour, Mike, and I was still struggling. And that, those veins were like the Alaskan pipeline on that dummy. That was an easy stick. So it really gives me an appreciation for how good first responders are at what they do, because they're doing difficult life, where life hangs in the balance procedures at 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour in the back of a truck, often with low lights, and a person who's fighting them.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because it brought that perspective to the viewer. They got to see that, like what we go through on a daily basis, which is routine for us, but also just the operation of an emergency vehicle, right? The frustration that exists with us when we're out there and people don't pull over, or they'll stop, or they'll pull to the left, right? We're hoping that this becomes more of a public service announcement, like, folks, just pull over, right?
We always make that PSA, Mike. It could be you or someone you love,
right?
Pull over.
I mean, it's
maddening.
Well, it is maddening.
It's maddening. We were watching, I think it was Mesa. This truck is an engine is speeding down a freeway, and they're in a middle lane because it's a wide turn. Yeah. They're about to turn, slows, and the driver makes a good look and sees all of a sudden a Harley comes gutter shooting at like 60 miles an hour. And that truck had the right of way, and had they turned, you lose. You lose.
Every single time. And it was just,
it's just so scary to think people clearly see it. They just are willing to risk it.
They really are. And
it's terrifying.
But again, those types of things and those segments that you're doing, I think, are great, because sure the viewers are seeing the professionals do it, right? But when you go and you put yourself in that position, right, they're getting to see somebody that doesn't do that on a daily basis and see how difficult it is, or see what it entails. And
it's like EMS for dummies, and I'm the dummy.
But I was not going to say that. I just wasn't going to say that.
I'll say it. It's true.
Let's hit over on something that I know is near and dear to you. It's something that you're affected by on a daily basis, and that's rheumatoid arthritis. So if you could just maybe touch upon just a little bit about what that is and how that's affected you and your story with that.
So rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease where your body attacks its own tissue, and it localizes in the joints, primarily like the small joints in the hands and feet, and can spread out. And I was diagnosed with it in 2002. And so I've been living with it so I was diagnosed 18 years ago, but about 2 years before that. So about 20 years where I've been living with this autoimmune disease. And I'm very lucky. I'm on a medication, biologic that helps control it. But my life significantly changed with the onset of that arthritis. A lot of damage to my feet. I can't do high impact stuff that I used to do. I can't run. I can't play basketball. My feet are very sensitive. And I have a lot of fatigue. I have a lot of stiffness, and it's really been a challenge, but it's also, I think it's, for me, it's really kind of given me a little bit of purpose, I think, and an appreciation for how good I have it. In that, I've responded well to the medication. And so Arthritis Foundation has been my charity since I was diagnosed. When I was on Celebrity Apprentice with Schwarzenegger, the new boss, that was my charity. So when I won, I raised nearly $1 million for the Arthritis Foundation. And since then, I've raised hundreds of thousands more. And it's been awesome to try to get to give back to a group that's made a difference for me. And it's tough. It kind of steals your youth and makes me feel like an old man, I think well before my time. But it's a challenge because there are a lot of things I know I could be doing better in terms of diet and lifestyle, and I don't always do it. I don't always make the best choices. And so, I sympathize. Doctors make lousy patients, and it's a challenge where you're never going to be perfect, and you just, you try to do the best and handle the disease that you're given. But, I'm fortunate in that it's a pretty serious disease, but mine is so far pretty well controlled.
I think that's pretty inspiring in a way, Matt, that you have that disease, but you don't let it show, right? It doesn't affect you. You're always upbeat. You have this air about you that's just, I can certainly sympathize, well, not sympathize with it, but I can relate to it in a sense that you just want to have fun. Everything has to, you just want to have fun and enjoy the most out of life, right? Don't take anything too seriously because life is short.
Yes.
And I think that that's a true testament to your character and what it is you bring on a daily basis. And I think that the viewers see that constantly. They see what you are, the energy level. And, as I said before, you have a great chemistry with the two guys on the show right now. Dan and Garrett. They're great guys. They're great characters. And they remind me a lot of everyday providers, right?
Yeah.
As I said, nobody views we certainly don't view ourselves as heroes. We view ourselves as regular people, but we have a dark sense of humor. I mean, let's just be honest.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how we get through life. And they have that.
And that's one of the things we're always respectful of that. But there was in the hospital, there's absolutely that gallows humor of when you're around death and disease a lot. I think the way you cope with it, either you internalize it or you let it out. I think laughter is just a great way to let it out. And it's never a lack of respect. It really is just a coping skill when you're around some really heavy things. And I think, it's that thing of, okay, we got to laugh about this because we all know this is heavy stuff. And I think, that's what's nice being with Dan and Garen because they're still in the game.
Yep.
And it's fun. It's fun just getting to know them too and their take on all the situations we see our first responders in.
Now, obviously, you can't be biased here, but are there certain municipalities, are there certain cities that you enjoy watching just a little bit more than others? Have you taken a liking?
Well, I think we appreciate all the cities that are riding with us. I think, for me now, because I've been to St. Louis and Sacramento and because I met some of the guys at San Bernardino, it's hard not to feel like a connection with them. And my goal is to visit all the cities because it's just different when you see these people and you've looked at them face to face, when you had a beer with them or whatever, or talked through it. And so that's my goal, is to try to get to all these cities and build that personal connection with as many of the first responders as I can. But I think I love that on Monday night, we have no idea where we're going and no idea who we're going to be with. And it's fun just kind of sitting there and waiting to see what unfolds.
Sure.
And just how it felt like it was all assaults and then car accidents last Monday. And before there were fires and overdoses, and you just never know what you're going to see.
Yeah, I think that, a perfect example of that was, and I had Chili Serrano on 2 weeks ago. His episode, and I say that respectfully, but the episode of San Bernardino wildfire, where basically the entire show was on that. And I think that shows that, you could go from 0 to 100 in a nanosecond in this industry. So the fact is, when that was that riveting, and to have everybody locked in on that, it was great that the show stayed on that, because I think people were truly engaged. And I think that was Chili's shining moment. I really think that, it showed his ability
100%.
And how he was able to handle that. And again, I said this to you before we got on, what has been special about this, my time in the studio initially and then on the road, was just making the connections with these other folks. I've become great friends with them. We talk, we text, we bust each other's chops constantly. It's so great. I think that's what's so cool about this whole experience.
Yeah. It really was cool getting to that. San Bernardino was so unique, where a fire literally is breaking out as we're going live on air. And we saw all the stages of fighting a wildfire, from evacuating people, going door to door, evacuating pets, from having people refuse to evacuate, to figuring out how you get water up on a narrow area, how you get traffic up and down and control that. Power lines are coming down. The light is going down. The winds are kicking up. You have multiple helicopters coming over. We saw, to me, that was more informative on how a wildfire is actually fought. To just see it being done and to see the unbelievable coordination that has to go in and how many moving parts there really are and how challenging it is first responders are trying to save homes and get people out and then chase pets. And the thing you see where sometimes the people aren't as helpful as they could be, and that's part of it too.
All
But it was
around.
just, it's incredible to really get to spend a couple hours there and to see, and Jason Serrano was taking us through it step by step, and it was amazing to see all that. I thought it was great because you got to see all that a firefighter really does in a situation like that.
Yeah, really a cool episode. And again, just one of many awesome episodes that have been coming out. And we know that they've been doing a lot of 3-hour episodes now, which is really great because, as I was telling you before, in this, the way that this shakes out in EMS and Fire, you can't really make that work, right? That work has to happen organically. So the more time that you have to capture something that happens is so much better. And that's why I think the 3-hour thing has been great. It certainly doesn't lose its interest, which I think is really important for the show.
Totally.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I think I'm going to have to touch a little bit on. We did this, I think, initially with Letitia Vaughn, but we're going to have to find out a little bit more about Matt Iseman if he were stuck on a deserted island, or when I was talking the forest, if he was stuck in the forest. I need to find a couple of the things that you would absolutely need with you. Okay, so first and foremost, all right, food. Talk to me.
Chicken fingers. Oh,
Chicken fingers. Okay.
I love chicken fingers.
Right,
so unhealthy. I should be kale smoothies.
It's definitely.
This is one of those things
First of all,
where,
if you
for the
said
inflammation, kale smoothies. But I'm being honest. No one's got. I want chicken fingers with honey mustard.
I was just going to say what condiment, and it's the honey mustard.
Oh,
Okay. All right. So
the
that's
best.
good. If you had to have one CD with you, or the one thing you could listen to on Spotify, what band?
Journey's greatest hits.
Oh, yes.
I just. Steve Perry is the voice of an angel. I just could listen to him sing anything.
Okay, I love it. All right,
Very positive music too. I like it.
Yes, and the image is incredible. The mullet, the whole 9 yards. It's incredible. Talk to me about the DVD that you would have with you. Come on.
Probably Terminator 2.
Oh, of course, you had to say that.
Maybe Predator. I mean, it's going to be Schwarzenegger, especially since I've been hanging out with him.
Yeah,
it's going to be Arnold.
Honestly, I wonder where you were going to go with that.
Yeah.
All right, so it's definitely Arnold, right? It's definitely Arnold.
Yeah.
And if we had to go with the favorite beer, which I think I know the answer to.
Stella!
I knew it would be that.
I love Stellas.
I knew it.
It's crazy. So Stella Anheuser-Busch covers them in St. Louis, and I'd been like tweeting out just my love of Stella, and I'm going to St. Louis to do comedy, and Stella was like, why don't you come visit us? I'm like, I can visit Stella?
Yeah, okay.
Came out to the Anheuser-Busch brewery. One of the greatest days of my life.
You don't even remember leaving. Okay, so Matt, this has been awesome, dude. I am so glad
Thanks,
that you
Chief.
hopped on with us. This was great. I think that the viewers and the listeners are going to love hearing just a little bit more about Matt Iseman. And again, keep doing. What you're doing.
That's something too I wanted to say is it's unbelievable seeing the viewers who tune in live, who tweet, who respond, who really are involved in the show. We appreciate it so much. It's fun. We try to interact as much as we can during the show on Reddit, on Facebook, Twitter, Insta. But it's not lost on us that obviously there wouldn't be a show without the viewers. So we're very appreciative.
Absolutely. Keep up the good work, man. Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to follow you on Ninja. We're going to follow you on this, and we're definitely going to get on that podcast if we can find out how to listen to it. I promise you. I will catch you. I will catch you in the city around St. Patty's Day. Sounds good?
Yeah, buddy. We'll have a little bit of the Irish in us, Mikey.
Sounds good, brother. Listen, thank you for coming
on.
on.
All right, thanks.
Everybody, thanks for watching with Matt and I. This is another episode of Open Mic. Stay tuned next week as we have another guest. Matt, keep it real, brother.